Welcome to the Author Blur podcast. I'm your host, Eric Maynard. Today I'm speaking with Erez about his book about coming to Berlin and immigrating there and what he went through, his emotional, his financial, everything it took him to be able to do that, and why he believes and why he's very adamant that Berlin, Germany is one of the easiest and best places to move to. He makes a compelling argument, so I encourage you to listen to our conversation, read his book. You won't regret it. He's a very intelligent man. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the show. If you want to, you can go to authorblurb.com and see his profile there right now. Find out a little bit about him while you listen to him. Or if you're watching the show on one of the video streaming services, you can go there afterwards. Obviously, all the information's in the show notes and, of course, authorblurb.com. So enjoy the show. So I'm here with Erez, and we're here to discuss the Berlin's Immigration Secret. It's a book that he wrote about his journey to get into Brazil or get into Berlin, the immigration process that it took. But instead of me going through it all, Erez, if you can explain about yourself, about your book, and we can go in and talking more after that about why you wrote it and all these things.
Absolutely, Eric. First of all, thanks for having me. Great to be here. Thank you for this platform for authors. And let's start. Actually, it's a very, very unique book because it has never been done before, and I'll explain. See, the thing is, I always had this dream about living abroad. And as I grew up, I was very curious. I always thought about what it's like to live elsewhere. How is it? I always wanted to see new cultures. So I always had this dream on one hand, and on the other hand, I didn't see any future in my native country because I never chose to be born in a political area. It's a very tense area. I come from the Middle East, and we have lots of issues. And at some point, you when you think about your life, what is that you want to do in life, and where do you see yourself in several years, you realize that it's not there. On top of that, I always have this immigration dream. I always had this thing in the back of my mind. And as I grew up, I traveled to so many different places, and it completely opened up my mind regarding living abroad even more.
All right.
So the thing is, when I decided that I wanted to immigrate, I needed to choose a destination for myself. As you may know, we have Canada, the US, Australia, Sweden, lots of countries all over the world.
Right.
And I've actually really, really investigated and learned about each and every destination, the benefits, what it is going to be easier for me, what are the benefits, and so on. Mm-hmm. And eventually, after basically a depth study, I chose Germany as the country I want to live. To immigrate. So many may ask why. What led you to immigrate specifically to Germany, right? Because when people say immigration, you immediately think about the U.S.
Right.
Everyone has.
You're wrong, but I also know that just like any person in the world, nothing is perfect, but we all try to do our best to be as perfect as we can.
Yes, and you got to understand something else, Eric. Our world is changing all the time.
Yes.
So the way I see it, America and Germany, there are two countries, and both of them are in different stages. As I see it, America used to be very, very open back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now things have changed. Right. And now what happened in the States now is happening in Germany. So Germany is very, very open now. It needs the young labor force. and a lot of people would like to live there. So I think it's about stages, because right now the gates are open, so you have like a window of opportunity. But according to my prediction, at some point they will have to close the gate. So immigration, first of all, is an opportunity for you. You got
Right.
to take it if you want to change. The second thing is you will never know when that window will be closed,
Right.
and that's why I think now everybody is going to Germany. But how many people eventually they will be able to accept? Now the window may be open for several years, but what will happen next? Nobody knows. All right.
Right.
So this is what I found out about Germany. First of all, those are the main four reasons that actually made me immigrate there.
All right.
So the first one is a very, very strong economy. As you may know, Germany has the strongest economy in Europe,
Right.
and it provides very good conditions and benefits for its residents. You have a great transportation, by the way. Everything is very accessible, and the fact that that it's not fully 100% capitalistic,
Right.
um, it makes it, I think, easier for many, because not many people know, but actually you receive a lot of benefits, because it kind of like combines the social economic model and the capitalistic one. So those who were not meant to be entrepreneurs, maybe they're working in simple jobs like teachers, nurses, because not all of them were meant to be good with money or to build businesses. This is how the world works.
Right.
They have different mentality, different priorities. So you have in the world some businessmen, some building businesses, some would like to do 9 to 5 their jobs, and it's fine. But for those who really want to keep it simple, those who really like their jobs and do not want to become business owners, we need to take care of them too. And this is where the social economic model comes into the picture. So you receive benefits, you have contracts. So if you work in a certain company, they will give you a contract. They cannot fire you immediately. You have rights as an employee, as a salaried employee. So it
Right.
makes it much more easier. That's why it's appealing for many immigrants, because they know they want to feel more secure. That's why it's very, very, very appealing for them. So, by the way, this model is very similar to the Scandinavian model. Countries like Sweden, Norway, Denmark, they have Finland as well. They have kind of like the same model. It's more close to that model than in my opinion, to the American model.
Well, yes, I would say, but from what I understand, and again, I'm not 100% sure, but I thought the Scandinavian countries also said that they focus heavily on capitalism in the sense of drawing people in, because, yeah, not everybody is meant to be a CEO or a VP, or because if everybody was the president of the company, you'd have nobody doing anything. So, yeah, I do agree with that. So it sounds
Yes.
like
So
and maybe I'm misunderstanding this, so hopefully you can clarify it for me, but it sounds like it's kind of a where it's a workers' rights over, but there is still a element of capitalism where if you're not doing your job, if and your contract that you sign, you can still be let go. It's not once you're in safe
yeah.
and clear.
So a lot of Americans like to call it work-life balance. You use the term work-life balance. Now,
Okay.
regarding what you just mentioned, you're right. The Scandinavian model is very, very capitalistic. The whole world is getting more and more capitalistic. Germany is
Right.
getting more and more capitalistic. You cannot avoid it.
Right.
But it's still important that you'll have rights as an employee, as a renter. It's still very, very important that you have transparency with the government.
Yeah.
Still very, very important that there will be no corruption. Now, of course, you cannot avoid corruption, but you can minimize it.
Right. You can try to,
Uh,
yes.
there is no perfection, and
Right.
this is the magical thing about Germany. It's more simple, less complicated. you know, it's all about privacy. It's all about respect your rights, and that's it. When I came, I just wanted to find my quiet little corner, live my life, and that's it. I never thought about getting rich or buy a Rolls Royce or anything like that.
Right.
So it's a different mentality. You got to understand that Berliners, they care more about experiences than materialism.
So let me ask you this, because your book does focus on Berlin and not just Germany. You came with just your passport in a suitcase, if I remember correctly.
Exactly.
So what was it is if somebody's looking at coming to Germany, you're very focused on Berlin, and I can see you really like Berlin. I looked at your social media a little bit. You have a lot of, it looks like a lot of beautiful locations there in Berlin, but is the rest of Germany something? So if somebody's coming to Germany, can they expect to have the same reception as you have in Berlin? Or can they use your book to try to figure out their way or try to help them through all of Germany? Or is it just centrally focused on Berlin?
All right. Excellent question, Eric. So first of all, the German mindset. All right. It's
Right.
not only the Berliner mindset. The German mindset is less about capitalism, less about materialism. Let's
All
start with
right.
this. So it doesn't matter where you live in Germany. It's a different mentality either way.
All right.
Now, the reason I chose Berlin is because I actually visited the city in 2012. I really liked it because it was very, very international city. You meet people from all around the world. You have lots of job opportunities. It's a lively city. It's a
All
very
right.
historical city. And I'm a person who likes history. It's a very historical city. You
Oh
have
yeah.
lots of historical sites,
Mm-hmm.
and you meet people from all around the world. So that's what exciting about the city. So you can meet people from all over. You still live in a very international city. So I guess it's going to be easier for you if you move to Berlin, because then it's not like you're moving into a small German town where everybody speaks only German.
Right.
You'll be able to integrate, exchange ideas with other immigrants. So that's why I think, in my opinion, it's going to be easier if you set up your mind and toward Berlin. But the German mindset, as I mentioned, is not all about capitalism. Now, as you mentioned, I wrote the book Berlin's Immigration Secret, not Germany's Immigration Secrets,
Right.
because the journey I've been through was in Berlin, the city of Berlin. So when you read the book, you see bureaucratic structures, addresses. The book is so detailed that with streets, addresses, places I've visited, and so on. So those places, those bureaucratic buildings, can be found in Berlin.
All right.
However, the concept that, for example, you need to register to become to register when you have an apartment, so they will know where you live. You
Mm-hmm.
can do it in any other German cities in Germany, but the those specific details are related to Berlin City, even though the concept, the German immigration policies, you can do them all over Germany.
All right.
It just
So
that I mentioned in the book the places that I've been through, because this was my own immigration journey.
right. And even on your book description on your website, you do mention that it is your journey to find your way through to immigrate into Berlin. So the one thing you did mention was about language. So you originally from the Middle East, you obviously speak English very well. Do you speak German as well, or?
Yes, so I'll explain. Let me just go back for several seconds to the reasons why I came to Germany, because I
Okay,
stopped at
sorry.
number
Yes.
one, which was a strong economy. The second one, a low cost of living and apartment rent. I'm sure you
Mm-hmm.
know, in New York City, you have high prices.
Yep.
London, the UK, you have high prices. But now, unfortunately, the prices are getting higher here as well. But when I came, the prices were very, very reasonable at that time.
All right.
Now we are experiencing a lot of increasement regarding that, but still, it's more reasonable than other cities,
All right.
other major cities. And I also like the fact that you have lots of green areas as well in the city. So this
Right.
was the second reason. So number one, strong economy. Second, low cost of living. Let's go to the third reason. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned language. So one of the most important reasons for me was to learn a new language.
Right.
That's why I didn't want to immigrate to an English speaking country. For me, it was more challenging and exciting to learn a new language.
Mm-hmm.
And many see it as a burden, I know, but for me, I had a curiosity, I had energy, and actually, I've learned the German language from scratch, finished all of the levels. It took me approximately 1 year and 9 months. I finished all of them, and all the German levels. And I actually continued to practice, and now I speak fluently. So it was very also a very interesting process as well for me.
All right.
And the fourth reason, which in my opinion is the most interesting one, why I chose Germany,
Mm-hmm.
was my possession of an Israeli passport. And I'll explain this one, Eric. Now, I've been doing my research, and I found out that Germany allows Israelis to search for job opportunities within its borders without a specific visa to do so. So it means, Eric, that you can come as a tourist, and you can stay in Germany up to 3 months. During that time, you can search for a job opportunity. If you find a job or any other source of income, because we have lots of types of other visas, you can stay in Germany, and you don't have to leave the country. And it's great, there is no you don't have to set up your visa prior to your arrival.
Okay.
You can just go and stay there.
All right.
Of course, it's more challenging, but it's doable. People have done it before, and that's why it's great. Think about it. You don't have to possess a European passport.
All right.
Actually, in my book, I have a chapter that explains the difference between a European passport holder and a non-European passport holder. So you can read the differences. I'm not going to tell you everything, but I want to keep it as a
Right.
surprise. But you'll be amazed if you read that chapter. Some things that you never occurred to you. So with that said, I want to approach the viewers right now, the viewers slash listeners.
Right.
What I found that Germany has this privileged countries list. If you live in the following countries, you'll be able to do the same. You'll be able to come to Germany as a tourist with no visa, search from a job from within a job opportunity, and then once you find one, you can stay. That's it. So those countries are United States, Canada, Israel, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom now because of the Brexit, Japan, and South Korea.
All right.
So, and this is another thing I want to mention regarding those countries. I've met a lot of Americans, a lot of British guys who came to Berlin, and they came to study even when they didn't have to. So they thought, okay, I don't know the rules. I want to immigrate to Germany. How do I enter legally? But they didn't realize that they can just find a job and stay there. So they studied. They studied in the university, completed their MA, BA, whatever.
Right.
But they didn't realize that they could just work immediately.
Right. Well, I know here in the United States, at least. So if you're coming here and you don't have a job or you're not sponsored, there is the option to get a student visa to where you can be in the school and have your visa that way. So that might be the reason that they believe that or thought that way. But it's also interesting to know that in Germany, that is not a requirement. Like you said, as long as you have the passport, you can come get work. So, I mean, out of all the countries, what countries did you really look at before choosing to go to Germany and more specifically Berlin?
So as I mentioned, I looked Also, I read about other European countries like Sweden, Finland, and in the UK as well. But as I mentioned, I didn't want
Do an English
get
speaking.
to English speaking country.
Right.
And second, I didn't found that you can just come as a tourist on those other countries and stay there.
All right.
So I guess it makes it more complicated in the other European countries. And on top of that, if you take a look at the whole picture, not only it's easier to get to Germany, but you get to live in the strongest economy of Europe. You get to live in a very strong country with lots of opportunities, with great transportation, one of the best transportation in the world. And the fact that I do not have to own my own car, it's great. If I want to travel away from the city, I can rent a car or I can just take a train. Think about it.
Well, for me personally, I'll be honest with you. I've owned a car since I was 15 years old. I've been driving. I grew up on the country, so if you didn't own a car, you were pushing a bike from one point to another, and no one really enjoys that. So, but I grew up in a culture where cars are big things. We love our cars. A lot of Americans that are outside the major cities, their cars are very important to them. So,
Yeah,
that was
I before I came to Berlin,
right,
I had my own car. I couldn't move without a car. But when you realize that everything is so accessible, as I mentioned,
right.
you have the great transportation ever. Just imagine, you don't have to fix the car, you don't have to pay for gas, you don't have to do a test every year. It takes a lot out of the equation. This is
Oh,
how I see it as a high quality life, for me
right,
anyways, because I can understand that you got used to have your own car. I had the same feeling. I
right.
had my own car. I needed a car, but once you land on German soil and you start to to see the city, and you realize that you have a lot. You have more other options. You can cycle. By the way, we have a cycling path all over the city. It's very friendly towards cycles. You have the tram, you have the buses, you have the metro, which is called the U-Bahn.
Right.
Uh, Everything is so accessible. You have the elite train, you have the subway train, so everything is to get from one point to the other. It's very easy.
Well, it sounds like it's a very culturally central thing with the transportation, the public transportation is, and I think a lot of it boils down to the cultural, and that might be a very big attraction to a lot of people because one, public transportation does offer a lot of greener options, which people do like. It's call me funny, but I can tell you before I started doing a lot more remote work and things like that, before everything happened, traffic, I live outside of DC, and I'll tell you, traffic is just a pain in the neck, to say it as nicely as I can. So, yeah, I can tell you the downsides of living around a major city and driving, you just, that's where road rage does show its ugly face a lot because you just get frustrated sitting in traffic. So I can see the appeal to it. So I'm not saying that it's not a great thing. And if I would have gone and moved when I moved out of my small country town, if I would have said moved to a city that ran on subways and buses and all this more, I very possibly could have given up my car as well. Until you're in that situation or until you find the attraction to it enough that you want to live in that community, in that environment. So I can see the appeal to it. Trust me, sitting in traffic, I can tell you, I used to drive a half hour to work one way to a place and 2 hours on the way home just because of traffic. So it makes sense to me. And that sounds wonderful. So let me ask this. When somebody starts your book, what is chapter 1 of your book? Where do they start when they read your book so they can start the journey you have?
So they start about, I start the book, Eric, with a question about, what is immigration? What does it actually mean, the word immigration? And when you think about it, immigration is a very, very powerful word,
Right,
because think about it. This is a very, very emotional journey. You know that as an immigrant, you are going to change your life forever. You set up your mind that you're going to disconnect from everything and build a new life.
right,
And and the second question I ask is it even possible to immigrate? What does it take to immigrate? Is it even possible? And for someone like me, who started from scratch, I had no connection, no social media, not even a smartphone, believe it or not. I came without a smartphone.
all
The
right,
first smartphone, I bought it here 6 months after I already been here. So I really started from scratch, but that doing so, I was able to write the book because I discovered so many things that I had no privileges, and that what led me wrote the book, because I gathered a lot of information. Now, the first I ask those questions, and then I tell about the dream that I had as a child. I tell about the dream that I always wanted to immigrate. I tell about about the stigmas, the misunderstanding about the word Germany, about the concept of Germany. People tend to think, what is Germany? If I tell you the word Germany right now, you think about the Holocaust, World War II, all that stuff,
the
bombings.
Berlin Wall, all these things. Yeah,
Exactly. That's what people tend to think, but they don't fully aware that the country changed completely.
right,
So you gotta understand that in order to understand the mentality, I grew up with a lot of negativity toward Germany.
all right,
And when you see all those Hollywood films, when where we see the Americans always the good guys, the German always the bad guys, and it gets into your mind, and you think, you don't know what to think, at the end. But then you realize that the country has changed completely. This is, we're talking about a period of time. This is the immigration is booming here. So if you take a look at the country, think about all those refugees from Afghanistan, Syria,
right,
Africa, now from Ukraine. They all want to come to Germany.
right.
All of them. They're fleeing. They're escaping. They died during their journey, but they want to come to Germany. Why? Why? Have you asked yourself why?
Well, and just off the top of my head, and I could be wrong, but one, Germany did open themselves up, allowing people to come in, and their openness probably allowed people to, because I know that there are a lot of countries out there where the younger generation isn't populating as much, or they're not growing as quickly as they need to fill those jobs. So when you mention that it has a strong economy, usually a country with a strong economy and a lowering of the generational workforce, they're going to raise their ability or make it easier for their ability of people to come in, if I'm not mistaken, so that they can get people in to keep that economy going. Because without workers, without people being part of the company or even innovating, making new ideas, new things off of the companies they're with, you end up being stagnant. And the economy, and this goes back to a mixture of capitalism working with people, is that mixture allows the country to grow and grow stronger because you have that strength.
So you're now talking about the German aspects, what they want immigrant. I was referring to the immigrant himself, the refugee.
All right.
Why he comes to Germany? in one word, of course, I've mentioned the strongest economy, the opportunities, and so on. But we have something else, Eric, and that is acceptance.
All right.
They're willing to accept. They're willing to, they're willing to have you. They're willing to welcome you. And this is something that we never actually realized before about Germany. So the issue of racism, the issue of anti-Semitism, those are very, very sensitive issues here.
Okay.
I think because of the history of Germany, because of the past, they take it very, very seriously. So just imagine when you live in a country that is willing to accept, it changes everything. You know that they will welcome you. For example, we have a very large gay community here. They come here because they want to feel welcome. They don't want to feel like people discriminate them. So this is one of the main reasons. I think that people, it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, Christian, non-Christian, they will welcome you with open arms. And I think it contributes not only for the individual but for the whole society. Because if you're at work, if you're applying for a promotion at work, for example, and you know that you will not be judged by your skin color, sexual orientation, or any other aspect, you feel more at ease, you feel more comfortable, you feel more confident. And I think this is very, very important reason. We have every year a carnival. It's called the Cultures Carnival in Berlin.
All right.
People from all over the world coming to Berlin. You have food stands from all over the world. People come from Africa, from Asia, from South America. So the whole city is blocked. The whole city when you wander around, you see a lot of food stands. You can buy from those stands.
Right.
Now, and there's a lot of it's going to be very, very crowded, but it's going on for 3 days, and then in the end you have a big parade all over the city with costumes, with people are being dressed in their own native costumes. So it's huge. It's a huge event. It takes place every year, and it's great. It shows that they show to the world, here we are. We have diversity. We have people from all over the world. Come, be happy, and it's great.
And it sounds like it would be an exciting time. So I mean, with that, what else do people find in your book that's going to help them? Sounds like you definitely love Germany and Berlin, especially. It does sound like an accepting place, being in a place. And I think ideally, like you said, no matter what your skin color, your origin, people shouldn't be judged by anything other than who they are. Other than that, we're all basically the same. We just have different features, different hair color, different eye colors. It's just a matter of judging people for who they are. And it sounds like you're saying that Berlin is fantastic about that. So, and I assume that's mentioned in your book as well, so people can get a good feeling of that. So can you tell me what else can people expect from your book so that when they read it, and again, I don't want you to give away everything in your book. Obviously, everyone needs to read it because it sounds like it's full of a ton of information.
Sure.
A little insight.
Sure. So you got to understand that to write such a book, it takes a lot of time, because it's like my own personal diary from the moment I landed until I gained stability within my immigration process. So it sum up 4.5 years with dates, addresses, everything that happened to me.
All right.
So it's actually very, very emotional story as well. So you have it's like you're doing the immigration process together with me, and you do the whole thing. You feel the alleys, the streets, the environment, the people who I've met, places I've stayed, everything. So it's actually, as I mentioned, this thing was nobody wrote a book like that. So it's a very unique book.
All right.
The second, it helped the immigrant. It actually accelerated the immigration process dramatically. When I came, I had no books, I had no guidance. I need to explore and discover everything on my own. And now I'm very happy because now people have a chance to read the book, and then it's going to help them. The book actually, in the book, I show a lot of hidden facts that you cannot find on any other source.
All right.
Only an immigrant who's been through that process will be able to know the secrets. And I think if you have a dream and if you want to build a life elsewhere, then this is going to be the ultimate immigration guide for you.
All right.
Because it not only works on the mindset and the bureaucratic procedures, it only shows everything. And I mean everything. And I think it's a very important book, because no matter how much you read about the bureaucratic procedures, or you can even consult with an immigration lawyer, the facts that I state in the book, the story, the you need to watch out from certain things. You need to work on your immigration goals. This you cannot find anywhere else. So of course, no matter how much you read about immigration, nothing can prepare you for your real immigration journey. And that's the reason I wrote the book, because I see people getting lost all the time. I see people frustrated. Maybe someone who watches us right now has a dream. Maybe he wants to immigrate, and he has no idea where to start. So it's the book actually is going to help those who want to build a new life, who want to settle in a new place, and they don't have any connection. They don't have. They don't know where to start. They have nothing basically, and they feel like they want to live elsewhere.
All right.
We have the right to choose the country that we want to live in. And what I always say, Eric, that the fact that you were born in a certain country doesn't mean that you have to live there for the rest of your life.
Oh, I agree
This
with that.
is all about freedom of movement, freedom of be who you want to be, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, and I agree with that. Find the culture that best suits you. Uh, Assimilate, be part of that culture, uh, embrace it, and enjoy it for its fullest that you can. I mean, I do agree. Life is way too short to be stuck somewhere that you're not happy. So I do see your point. Like you said, you left Israel because you didn't feel that was the place you belong. You traveled countries, you traveled around quite a bit from what I read, which gave you the insight that there are other places. So before we end this and we tidy up, would you suggest that people actually travel around, experiment, visit other cultures before they decide if they move somewhere? Or do you suggest that they do their research online? What would be your suggestion before somebody makes that final decision of to immigrate to Berlin or possibly somewhere else?
I think it's all about stages in life. So, you can immigrate at any age.
Right.
When I was in my 20s, I was not fully ready to make such a change. I traveled the world. My head was completely elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand that immigration is a commitment. It's a full-time job.
Right.
It's not like you're taking a holiday. People think,
Right.
hey, let's move elsewhere. It's going to be fun. No, it's going to be, you have a lot of challenges that you have to face. You have lots of difficulties. It's an exhausting journey, but it's a fun journey. It's an
Right.
exhausting journey, but it's a fun journey. And people need to know what they're getting into. Now, what is the perfect time to immigrate? There is no perfect time. You got to feel it within yourself.
Right.
Some people feel it in their 20s. Some like me feel it in their 30s. I mean, they feel it all the time, but they are willing to take the step in their 30s or 20s. But the more experience you gain in life, the more perspective you have in life, the easier it will be for you to integrate.
Right.
Because you can be more focused. You know exactly what you want. You already gained work experience. So it's up to you. But I mean, you gotta sit down with yourself and you gotta ask yourself, am I happy right now? Where do I see myself in 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Do I see myself in my current neighborhood? Am I willing to lower my standard of living? Because sometimes it's what you have to do in order to, you need to sacrifice.
Right.
Do I have enough savings? You know, in my book, I also state, do not do it if you do not have savings. If you are married, you gotta ask, you gotta speak, you gotta have a conversation with your spouse. So it's way more complicated than people think, you know. So you gotta ask yourself those questions and more. But the good thing, in the book, I answer all of those questions.
Well, very good. So people definitely need to go get your book. I have your information along with your links to where people can find you at authorblurb.com. All somebody has to do is search your name, Erez, and it'll come up there that they can find your profile. They'll also be able to find this show and all the links of where it streams or the videos are playing. So if somebody doesn't want to go to my website to find you, where can they go for you to find, or excuse me, so they can find you?
Great. So first of all, the book is available on Amazon. You can purchase both the Kindle version and the paperback version. The website, you can ask me anything. Just go to the website, read the info, immigrationsecrets.net. LinkedIn, I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can reach me out. You can reach out to me via LinkedIn as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you have questions, if you have more inquiries. I'll be more than happy to assist. Read the info, enjoy. In case you read the book, highly appreciate it if you leave an honest review. And the most important part, enjoy the book.
Right. Well, hopefully everyone enjoys it. Again, it sounds like it has a lot of great information. It sounds like there's a lot of interesting and, like you said, very emotional process to you just put out there. So I suggest anybody looking to immigrate, even if it's to Berlin, it sounds like it's a good idea of the challenges that would come. If you're looking to move to Berlin or Germany, this sounds like it's a must read no matter what. So I do appreciate it. It was wonderful having you on. If you can hold on 1 second, I'll just finish up and then we'll talk a little bit afterwards. But again, everybody can find you at the sites that you said, and they can find your information in the show notes as well. And of course, authorblurb.com will have all your information as well. Thank you. So you've listened to the conversation with Erez and I. You found out why he believes that Berlin is the place to move to if you're looking to immigrate. And you learned a lot more about him. So I encourage you to go find his book. And like we've said, all of his information is in the show notes and at authorblurb.com, where there's a profile of him, all the past guests, all the coming guests, and even the shows can be found there. So I appreciate you coming. If you get a chance while you're there at the website, go to show support, where you can buy me a cup of coffee, donate in crypto, and come back and keep checking that page, because soon I am planning on having something to offer my viewers as a special offering to just paid subscribers. With that being said, thank you again. Please remember to subscribe, rate this so people can find the ratings and be able to enjoy the show as well, and leave comments. You can also comment me or message me at authorblurb.com to be able to get more information, find out anything you need to that's within reason. and I'll be happy to answer you as soon as I can. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you soon.